Alright, so what's up? We're out here right now. We got my two dirt bikes. I have my 2012 factory back CRF 250R. This is my current race bike. This is why I race an IXCR. It's a good run bike. Over here we have my old bike, my '01 Honda CR80 RB. It's got bigger wheels and aftermarket suspension to help with me being taller than most people in my class. My bike sits higher than all theirs. It has bigger wheels. And it's under regulation, so the bike is in my class. All right, so to start off, this is a four-stroke dirt bike. Come over here. This is a four-stroke dirt bike. It fires like a vehicle. You have your intake, compression, power, exhaust stroke, and it has valves up in here in the head. And like I said, it fires every single four strokes rather than as the two stroke. This thing, you're gonna have a low to high power, or no, low to mid power power band. So you're gonna have a lot of bottom end torque. And it's gonna pull you through the turns and through the woods better. It also sounds different. It's got a lot lower tone, and instead of the two stroke where it goes ding 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 ding, this is gonna be a brop. Okay. Some other things that are different about this bike is this is a 250cc four stroke, and that's obviously a two stroke 80. This thing's gonna have a lot bigger advantage over that thing. The two stroke equivalent to this bike is a 125 two stroke, and really that's all this bike's got done. It's got built Showa suspension. The motor's completely stock. It's got Acerbis guards, ASV levers, Henson clutch, Acerbis skid plate, Outlaw tank, and DID aftermarket wheels, DID chain on Renthal sprockets. It's got aftermarket pegs, and it's got Dunlop MX3S tires. Okay, this bike is the '01 CR80 RB. Now I rode this bike for I think 3 to 4 years before I got to this bike. I just started riding this bike. This was the bike that started it all for me. You know, really, I learned how to really ride on this bike, and you know, when I first bought the bike, it scared the crap out of me because it was so crazy. But now this thing's a little baby compared to that thing. This is a two-stroke, which means the intake and compression stroke are all in one stroke, and then the power and exhaust stroke. So instead of firing, so you have your four strokes and it fires every single four stroke for this thing. This is every single two stroke. So this thing, you're gonna have a lot better mid to high level power band. So this thing's gonna have faster acceleration, and it's gonna be a lot harder punch when you roll onto the throttle. This motor has been rebuilt, I'd say a couple times. Okay, it's got full FMF Gold Series exhaust, which adds power. The carburetor's fully tuned to what I like. This had hand guards, but I took them off, and it has never had aftermarket levers. This bike, this bottom end is basically completely stock, and it's holding up well, but it's probably about to go out. This thing has built Showa suspension. It's got Dunlop MX3S tires. It's got DID chain, Renthal sprocket. Like I said, full FMF on this thing, so it sounds really good, and it gives it that little extra punch. Factory Effects does all my graphics, as you can see, the 22 mils, and really that's the two dirt bikes. You got your four stroke, which is going to be a lot more low end ballsier. Whereas this thing, as soon as you crack it open and you get through your low power range, this thing's going to want to blow any four stroke. But then as soon as you get to like your top speed, your four stroke's going to pull ahead because this thing doesn't wind out as fast. This thing's going to have faster acceleration than that, but as you're going through woods, you want that low end drive. So like as you're going through turns and you're going slower than as if you're on an MX track, you'd want one of these babies to have that full like ballsy this outright crazy power from at the top end like this thing. Other than at the bottom end, this thing works better for woods racing because it just chugs through everything and it just takes the load that it has. As you can see, it's a lot deeper tone. It's a lot lighter tone. Also, with a two-stroke, you're gonna have to mix your gas, which means going to the internet and finding your settings for your jetting and your exhaust. Now this thing runs 40-to-1, which means it's leaner than normal. 32-to-1 is what Honda recommends, but with that, it runs too rich, which means you have way too much oil in your gas. If you have way too much oil, you're gonna foul a spark plug. Now, so if it's 50-to-1, that's really lean. Like 30-to-1 is richer. So the lower the number, the richer it's gonna be. The higher the number, the leaner it's gonna be. Now, with that, if you have a leaner setting, you're gonna blow your bike up, which means a lot of money and a lot of parts and a lot of work. If it's richer, all you're gonna do is burn a spark plug, but you wanna go through and test, which is what we did with this bike, to find out your right settings. All right, make sure when you go out to test, you're wearing a helmet. You wanna be wearing long pants, but I'm good enough, I think at least. Always wanna have a pair of gloves. I don't have any right now, they're all in the wash. Have a pair of goggles in case stuff gets in your eyes.